Good morning, everyone. Welcome. We are going to be crocheting solid grannies today, and for the knitted portion I'm going to show you how to do a diagonally knitted square. So we'll give everybody a chance to join us while I get things together. Whatever crochet hook that you're using for whatever yarn that you have will work out just fine. You don't have to have certain size yarn or certain sized crochet hook. Not for this. Size doesn't really matter for this part. You'll never hear people say that too often, but for this part it doesn't. If you're curious, I'm using a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook, which is also a US size F or a 5. Some of this pulled out here so we don't have to struggle with the yarn. There we go. Now we get to find the end. So we buried it. How's everyone doing this morning? Hopefully everyone is good. Good. We are going to work on a solid granny square, which this one will have absolutely no spaces, no gaps, not even in the corners. So for any of you who are interested in the solid granny square, that's what we're going to be working on. I know a lot of us who crocheted for years, we've always just tied our string onto our crochet hook in this fashion, almost like tying your shoestrings. It's kind of hard to do it holding the hook, but you would, secure it on like that twice. I don't like having to pluck a knot out if I don't like the work, so I use the magic, I want to call it magic circle, and it's not magic circle. I'm going to use a slip knot, but we are going to use magic circle, so we're not tying. We're doing a granny square. So my brain's everywhere this morning, so just stick with me. It'll be okay. But we are going to make a slip knot and attach, not a slip knot, magic circle. Here we go. Let's just do this magic circle. I hold the yarn here between my thumb and my ring finger. And you can do this on either hand, right-handed, left-handed. I crochet right-handed, so I'm performing this with my left hand. I take the yarn, run it over my index finger, wrap it around my index and middle finger, make a little X on the back. Then I flip my hand over, hold my yarn with my pinky. Go under the first piece of yarn and grab the second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin my hook so that it's facing the other way. And you can see like this. Looks just like this. Almost like a weird coat hanger situation here. Then I'm going to come over here and grab this yarn that my pinky is holding. And I'm going to pull it through that loop that I made by twisting. Okay, and then everything can just be dropped. Well, what do we do? I didn't do something right. Let me try that again. I think something slipped when I went to go grab the yarn. But we are going to be doing the, let's get a hold of all of it, not just a piece of it. There's my loop. There we go. Now, we're going to be working this just like we would a regular granny square, except we're going to be doing doubles and trebles in the first round to give it its shape. Good morning, Samantha. How are you? So what we're going to do, we're going to chain 4. This counts as a treble crochet, and here and throughout this pattern. Now we're going to do 3 double crochets in this circle here. So we're going to yarn over and do our 3 double crochets. There's 2. If we have any new people here and you're unsure of the stitch, I'm going to be doing it several times. I'm doing fairly well this morning. Samantha, thank you for asking. To do a double crochet, we first have to yarn over. This is where we just wrap yarn around our crochet hook. Then we're going to go into the circle because we're working in the magic circle right now, and we're going to grab the yarn again and pull it through. We're going to extend it up a little bit because your needle should always be parallel to your work when you're working half double crochets, the taller stitches. So then we yarn over one more time, and we're going to pull through 2 loops at a time, yarn over again, and pull through the last 2. Okay, so we've got our 3 double crochets now. Now the repeat portion of this is we are going to do 1 treble crochet and then 3 double crochets, and we're going to do that 3 more times. So we are going to do our treble crochet, which for our treble crochet we have to yarn over twice. There's 1 and there's 2. Then we go into the circle and pull up a loop. Now you should have 4 loops on your hook now. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and we're going to keep doing that until we only have 1 loop left. And I don't know why I'm trying to watch this through the camera view. Okay, so our treble crochets are going to be our corners if anyone has done granny squares before. Now we do our 3 double crochets. Good morning, baby. Here's 2. And then here's 3. Okay, so that's 1 time that we've completed that repeat. We need to do it a total of 3 times, so we have to do it 2 more times. Again, we're going to do our treble crochet where we yarn over twice. I don't know if this will make any difference in you being able to see that yarn a little bit. Okay, and we are going to do our treble crochet here. And now we do 3 doubles again. Now you can change the colors up on this as you go row by row, but I'm not going to change colors today. I'm just going to go ahead and make a square. Alright, so we've got our 3 double crochets. Now we need to do one more set of that with the treble crochet and then the 3 double crochets after it. You've got to get down. I can't do anything for you now. My little one is here whining at my feet. We're doing the last set of the 3 double crochets here. And if you get close to your end here, you pull it a little bit so that you don't lose it up underneath of your stitches. I know that's getting in the way and confusing everyone. Alright, now we have the first stitches and then the repeats there. I'm going to go ahead and pull that a little bit. We'll take this tail end string here and I'll hold the stitches above where we worked over that and I'll pull. And that pulls our square into shape. You see we have our square here. Move that back here out of the way for a minute. We have a rudely shaped square there. And I like this magic circle because you can tighten that down to where you don't see it at all. And what I do at this point is dun, 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 dun. And I will show that again because I see some people are just coming in again and we haven't got that far, but I take this end and I weave it back in so this doesn't come loose because I like it to stay tight. You see it's coming from over in this direction, so I'm going to continue around this way to fasten it underneath the stitches where I worked around in that circle, making sure not to go, I didn't go all the way through. Okay, I'm going to pull that tight. I'm going to go over a few more stitches and then I'm going to come back a little bit. So that way I've woven it back across itself, which causes the yarn to have a friction against itself so it really doesn't pull loose. And then I can cut that string off. Alright, I have effectively hidden all of my scissors from myself. I know I didn't carry those out of here. Normally I have a pair of scissors everywhere I sit. Well, we don't have any scissors today, so we're just going to have to let that hang. They're in here somewhere. I just don't know where they've gotten off to. I'll find them later. Probably knocked them off in the floor. Alright, I'm going to put the needle back in here. And we are going to do a slip stitch. You can see our treble crochet here. We are going to do a slip stitch in the top of that to join our square for that round. And then for the second round, yeah, I need to put them on a lighter leash for sure. Strap them to the table with a chain like they do at the bank with the ink pens. Because I know that I had it yesterday. It was here on this desk because I was like, okay, we got one of those here and we got one of those in the living room or in the dining room. I have a pair of scissors everywhere I sit. And I had just gotten some. And I'm not going to worry about it because I don't need to cut any string. But on round 2, we are going to, and I don't think I wrote it down. Yeah, I did. Chain 4. And we are going to do 2 double crochets in the same spot right there where we did our join. So I'm going to catch both. I don't know why I didn't catch both of them when I did my join. And do 2 double crochets in that space. Or not space, but where you did your join. And it looks like I didn't go into the stitch. Let me do this join here again because I should have caught both legs of that stitch and for some reason I did not. Just caught the one. There it is. It wants to catch the third one too and go into the space. We don't want it to go in the space because then it'll have a gap. Don't pull it back out. Thank you. There we go. Now we should be able to do that without, that was a chain 4. Yep, see, I closed that hole up because I didn't grab both legs of the stitch. It gave me a gap. So I'm going to go back into where I did my join and do 2 double crochets. And then I'm going to crochet, and I can show this again. I'm going to crochet across each stitch, each double crochet that's down here from the last row. I'm going to double crochet in each one of those. And this will have absolutely no gaps in it. There are some granny squares that you can do that they still have the gaps in them in the corners, even though they're solid across here. Up the corners, they still have the eyelets. If you want those, you know, if you desire that shape, you can still do that shape. Now here we're to our treble here in the corner. So what we do in these corners is we put 2 double crochets in the same space. Then we're going to do a treble in the same space. And then we're going to do 2 more double crochets in that same space. Okay, and you can see here we're making our square. Again, work across the double crochets over to your treble. And you can see the treble because it kind of wants to roll up. You can see here it gets pushed back and it kind of wants to cause this corner to roll up instead of lay flat. So you can find it relatively easily as you're going around. So here I am going to double crochet and make sure I'm in a stitch. And I don't know why I did a chain right there, but I did. So we're going to skip that chain and it's going to get absorbed in here because this is just for teaching purposes. 1, double crochet in each of the 3 double crochets from the last row, and then we're here at our treble crochet. We're going to put 2 doubles in the top of that stitch. Why does that seem like it's going in between the stitch? There we go. We can see it now in the top of the treble. 2 double crochets, and then we're going to do a treble crochet in the same stitch, and then 2 more doubles in the same stitch. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. Okay? So 1 double crochet in the top of the 3 double crochets from the previous row. Why does it look like there's a gap there? I think I chained. I'm going out of here. He wants to bark at everything that moves around in the house. My husband just came downstairs. All right, now for some reason, oh, it looks like that got so small. It's because the top of the treble's over here. So we're going to put our 2 double crochets in the top of that treble, and we're going to do a treble in the same stitch, treble crochet, and then that's not in the stitch, I can tell you, because it's making a hole. That's between the stitches. Where's the top? Did I work that in that treble? Yeah. All right, here we go. There's 1 double, another double crochet, and a 3rd double crochet. Now we're here at the treble. We're going to put 2 double crochets, a treble crochet, and 2 more double crochets. This was one I found off of Pinterest. I'm not sure how much I like this one. We'll see when we get done. And now we're going to do 3 double crochets. And when we come back over here, we are going to put 2 double crochets here in the base of your chain 4, and that will finish off our corner for that side. Okay, and then we'll go into the top of this treble crochet. Let me get a hold of it properly. Both legs of the stitch, not the 3rd one. So that way we don't go through and make a hole. Now, you repeat this all the way around. You keep going until it's to the size that you want it to be, and you have a square that is solid. You're going to come up here and chain 4 and do 2 double crochets in the join, and then you're going to double crochet across each double crochet until you come back over here to this treble in the corner. In this stitch, you'll put 2 double crochets, a treble, and 2 more double crochets. And then you just continue on across this way. Okay, you're talking about a granny square sweater. You made 8 by 8 granny squares last night. I did do, let me pull something up here off of my Pinterest. I did put a granny square layout in my bio for cardigans that go from an extra small all the way up to a 5X. Let me see if I can pull that up. I'm not sure where I saved it. I did link this in my bio on TikTok, Debbie, and I hope that this is what you were looking for. The squares that she made, she tells you the size of the squares that she made to make this sweater. And it actually gives you the square layout where you can make all different sizes. The link for this is in my bio. I did just look up granny square cardigan layout for on Pinterest, and it shows you how to lay it out. You can see the sleeves are a little shorter, and if you don't like the sleeves that big, you can put a cuff on them and draw them in. If you want the sleeves a little bit longer, you can add a couple extra rows for your cuff. But this is linked in my TikTok bio so that you can just click on it and it'll take you right to it. I don't know about an 8x8 square. Now, I do know that they're doing the hexagon cardigan. Here's another one. And it looks like the granny squares might be a good bit bigger on this one. And it actually shows you using some triangle grannies to give you... Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh well, let's go ahead and look at that because that's pretty. These are bigger granny squares. I'm not sure of the sizing. Oh, keeps trying to give me all kinds of stuff. I'm not sure of the sizing on this as far as what size the granny squares are. I can show you how to do the triangle grannies if you don't already know, because we do still have time in the crochet portion, a whole half hour here. But hopefully, Debbie, that's helpful. And I know there's a good bit more. Let's see here. And this one doesn't tell you the size. Somebody's handwritten these out. And they actually have like 60 squares. Well, 2 of them are half triangles. Or actually they're whole, but you fold them in half and sew them in here. So that gives you like the armpit. So, you know, there's a bunch of them on Pinterest. The fact that you already made squares, I don't know of any that are 8 inches by 8 inches. Here's a really pretty one, and they gave a chart, and it says 80 squares. It looks like 650 grams total, but they did a really cute granny square, and here you have the coat. I don't know if I can make that bigger. There you have the coat. So yeah, there are a lot on here. Here's a bunch underneath that show where they use the hexagon and the grannies. Here's one. You know, there's lots of different ideas. Started at like a vest. You can do a vest with no sleeves. There's all different kinds. So I don't know of any that start with an 8 inch by 8 inch square. So hopefully you haven't done all that work. But yeah, there's a bunch on Pinterest, a bunch. Let me see. I don't see any more on here. Yeah, I'm not sure as far as that size, Debbie. Really not sure. But you don't... What is that? Okay, I'm getting ready to show you how to do the triangle grannies right now. Debbie, if you're using a J-hook right now, that's fine because I'm just doing this to show you how to make the solid grannies. I'm using a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook and worsted weight yarn, which is a size 4, a 4 weight. That yarn normally calls for an eye hook, which I think it's like a 6 millimeter. I'm not sure. Debbie, I'm not sure what you were. Yeah, you can use the other squares on a blanket for sure. Let me look this up here real quick and refresh my memory because I have not done a triangle granny in a while. And you can use these to fill in spaces just like you saw on that neck pattern. Get this pulled up here. And they have some that are a little different. I'm going to show you these, but what I'm going to show you is a half a granny square. I'm going to be showing you how to make these, but they also have triangle grannies, which are a little differently shaped. And you can see here, they are actual triangle. And this is like a half a granny, which you would use in corner spaces and stuff. And they even have some that are done like this. So, yeah, there's a lot here on Pinterest, but we're going to work with this one right here. Let's see what we have. Just to make sure that I'm showing it to you right before I just dump in there and try and remember how I did it. Alright, we're going to set this off to the side and pull out our other yarn here. I have to get it unwrapped. I might have to keep this one back up today. Well, that was the outside. I didn't even need to pull that off. I was looking for the end, thought I had it wrapped around the outside of this cake, and it wasn't. It was right there. Alright, for a triangle granny, we are going to use the magic circle. So we are going to put our yarn onto our crochet hook using the magic circle. I can get rid of this now. Put that back out of my way. I'm going to grab a drink of water here real quick. So we'll start here with our magic circle. And we are and that didn't do right. What did I do here? Normally don't have any trouble with this, but today it just seems to not want to, and that's not right. Give me a second here and I'll get this on. If I don't get it on this time, I'm going to tie it on like we used to. It wasn't going up underneath that other string right. Alright, so I have my magic circle here. And we are going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we are going to do 3 double crochets in the circle. That's awful loose. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to chain 2 and do 3 more double crochets. I normally do half doubles when I do grannies, but we're following somebody else's pattern here today. And then we are going to chain 1 and do 1 double crochet. Okay. And then we are going to tighten down, pull that string there, the tail end, and you'll have something that looks like this. Just going to hold that tight in the back. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to turn our work. And in this first chain space, which is right here, we are going to do 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to chain 1 up here in our next chain 2 space, which is up here. We are going to do 3 double crochets. Do our 3 double crochets, and then chain 2. Chain 2, and do 3 more double crochets in that same space. There's 1, 2, and 3. All right, then we're going to chain 1 and do 3 double crochets in the last chain 1 space. When we did our chain 4, that was our double crochet plus our chain 1. So we're going to be doing 3 double crochets in this space here. 1, 2, and 3. And then we are going to chain 1. Here's our chain 1. And we are going to do 1 double crochet in the 3rd chain right here, which is the 3rd chain of our turning chain right here. So we're going to do a double crochet in here. Okay, I'm going to elongate this a little bit so you can see. Half a granny, normally a granny square will have 4 in the middle to start, and this is pulling loose. This one, because it's half, it only has 2. Your chains here is what keeps your triangle in shape, your half a granny. Now, you can go back again. You're going to chain 4. Or are you going to chain 4? Let me see. All right, no, we don't want that. Thank you. All these little pop-ups. Okay, yes, we're going to chain 4 and turn. So this will go the same every row. You can make this triangle as big as you want to. You can make a granny square shawl triangle shaped, doing this. Just go back and forth, back and forth. You're always going to do your chain 4, 2, 3, 4, which is your first double crochet and your first chain space. Okay, then of course they say turn your work. You're going to do 3 double crochets and chain 1, and you're going to do that here, yeah, right here. Then when you get up here, you do your corner stitches just like you would normally do for your granny square. So we've got our what counts as our first double crochet in our chain 1 space. Now we're going to come up to this space here and do 3 double crochets in here. 2. Is that right? No, sorry. I know it didn't look right. I haven't had my coffee yet this morning. We are going to do in this first, this is the chain 1 space right here. So we're going to put 3 of those in here, 3 double crochets. We almost took our corner away. And then we're going to do a chain 2. And each row after this will be exactly the same as what we're doing right here. The chain 4, 3 double crochets in the first chain 1 space. Then you'll come up here and do chain 2, Then you'll come here and do 3 double crochets. If anyone needs to see the double crochet performed, please let me know. I can show you this again if you would like to see this again, because it's not that hard. Chain 2, then come to your corner space here. You're going to do 3 double crochets, a chain 2, here's our chain 2, 3 more double crochets in the same space. You're going to get out of here with that noise. Okay, and then we'll do a chain 2, just like regular granny square, but we're only doing a half a granny. It's also called a triangle granny, but there are several different ways to do a triangle granny, so you have to clarify it's a half a granny or a triangle granny. Now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to come down here in the chain 1 space, and we're going to do 3 double crochets, 2, 3, and then we're going to chain 1 and do 1 more double crochet in the 3rd chain of the chain 4 of our turning chain. And again, they just keep going and going and going just like that. This will give you the little triangle spaces that you need for some of these granny square cardigans that they have. Some of them use them in the armpit, but they use a whole granny. If you turn the granny, most of them you see done this way. You can turn them this way and make a sweater. Okay, you just have to lay it out over top of another sweater that you have and make sure it covers the space. So, you know, your old sweaters can be patterns for new sweaters that you make. You don't have to cut on them or do anything like that. Now, what I do need to do is find a pair of scissors now. I absolutely do not know what I did with my scissors yesterday, and I know I didn't carry them back out into the dining room. I hate to have to pull out another pair, but I keep scissors and the little cloth tape measures. They're not really cloth, they're plastic now. But those, and yeah, I don't know what really happened with my scissors. I probably did knock them off of here yesterday. They probably are in the floor. And I don't know if I'm going to like these as well. Got to wipe them off though. At least these came with a little case and little protector ends that are coated in oil. I'm going to get rid of those. So I don't want to have to keep wiping these off every time I use them and store them away. These are pretty cute. They're not quite like my other ones though. They're kind of, I'm going to wipe that off too. They're kind of hollow. My other ones are solid. And they don't have these little stop stickies in the middle. But yeah, I like these. I'm going to go ahead and fasten this off so that I can show you how this started. And I will link this pattern in my bio when I get off of here. Actually, I can probably do it right now for those of you who would like to follow along. Let me link tree this pattern very quickly. Yeah, that'll take me just a second. Let me back out from here. That's not taking too long. Everything's slow this morning. Everything is slow. that one didn't save for some reason. Let's see. Alright, here's the one that I had. I'm going to go ahead and put this link in my link tree right now for you guys. And then I will show you again before we start the knitting portion. So we still have about 15 minutes. And it's being really slow. Let me set this up here so everybody knows what we're working on, little triangle grannies. Oh, I gotta sign back in. Why do I have to sign back in? This is what takes it so long, having to wait for something to sign back in so that I can post this for you guys. Gotta wait for everything to Alright, I'm going to, it's in there, I'm changing the name of it now. If you go back to my profile page, right above my videos, there's a link tree link, and I just put the pattern in for this that I pulled off of Pinterest, which was this one right here. If you're looking for it yourself, you can see it says, I'm not even going to say that right there. That's the website that's offering this pattern. Thank you, Hesson Life. So I linked that pattern in there in my bio for you guys, and I will show you how this started. Hopefully that user that asked was still in here. I like that people have user names, because user numbers, and it's hard to get back with somebody about anything if I don't remember your numbers. So again, I start with a slip knot. Or not a slip knot. We're going to do magic ring. Here we go. And I twist it around, and then, why is this not working for me today? I don't know what's going on here today. Here we go. Now we got it. Magic circle. Now we start off with a chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is your first double crochet and your chain 1 at the same time. We're going to do 3 double crochets in the circle. Thank you, Judy. Good morning. So our 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to chain 2, and we're going to do 3 more double crochets. This will be a really cute way to make head coverings if you practice veiling. Okay, and now we're going to do a chain 1 and a single double crochet, just 1 double crochet. Okay, and then we are going to tighten our circle here. Okay, and this is what it looks like right here. You're trying to master the magic circle. Yes, it could be a pain. It could be a pain. Let me see here. I'll pull this out real quick and I'll show you. Basically, all you are doing, okay, and I can show you a way of doing this. I've got to pull this back out. Nope, that's not going to come off because we wove the end in. Goes into the stuffing bag. Now, for this, after I'll show you the magic circle here in a minute, we'll finish off with this. What you're going to do every row after this, you are going to chain 4. That counts as your first double crochet and your chain 1 space. Turn your work. In this first chain 1 space, you're going to put 3 double crochets. And then you're going to chain 2. Here's our chain 2. In this one, this being your corner, you're going to do your corner stitches for your granny square. You're going to put 3 double crochets. So here's our 3 double crochets. Oh, it didn't get all the way through. There we go. And then you're going to chain 2. And you're going to do 3 more double crochets in that same space. Okay, and then we're going to chain 2. And then down here in this chain 1 space, we are going to put 3 more double crochets. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to put 1 double crochet in the 3rd chain of the chain 4 turning chain. Okay, just go into the 3rd one and do a double crochet there. All right, and you have your triangle. Now every row after that is going to be the same. Of course, the pattern has been uploaded. If you click on my little name over here, it'll take you back to my profile page, and right above all my videos is a Linktree link with this pattern. And there's other patterns in there, and there's other ways that you can contact me in there as well. I also have my Instagram for older projects that I've done. But every row after this will be a chain 4, which is your first double crochet and your chain 1 space, your 3 doubles in the space, chain 2, and you're going to have a second space because this is going to give you 2 spaces before you get to your corner. The next row you're going to have 3 spaces before you get to your corner. So you're going to do 3 double crochets in each space until you get up to your corner with a chain 2 in between, except for this very first one. You're going to do 1 double crochet, or actually you're going to chain 4, and that gives you your double crochet in your space. And you'll work all the spaces with 3 double crochets up to your corner. And of course in your corner you do 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. Chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets in that space, and then chain 1 and do a double crochet in the 3rd chain of this chain 4. And it just repeats every row, and it gets bigger. This would be really cute done in a lighter weight yarn, lighter than worsted, especially for spring, summertime. This would make really cute bandanas that you tie. Just add your chains to make the ties for them, make them as big as you want. And instead of a bandana, you can change it all different colors, whatever. Make whatever you want with it, and, you know, use it to cover your head. There it is. All right, now as far as the magic circle, I'm going to show you an easier way. All you're really doing is you're making a loop, okay? You're making a loop. This loop is coming into here. This makes your slip knot. This here makes your slip knot. You tighten this together, there's your slip knot. If you then come after your slip knot, and I'll show you how I pulled that through. All I do is I lay the yarn over top of itself in a circle. This is to the top. This string here is underneath. So your other loop that you make to go in through here has to go over top of this string. So you're going to make another loop and put it in through here. Okay? Now, to make the magic loop, all you have to do is draw another loop through here from the underside. So if I take my crochet hook in here and pull this loop through like this, okay? If you pick everything up and tighten it up around your loop, if I can get it to tighten up, it's probably not going to, no, because we got something funky here. Let me show you the way I do it. Here is, this here is your slip knot. If you just loosen everything up and tighten it up, you got a slip knot. If you make one more step and come over here and grab this string and pull it through the loop on your crochet hook, magic circle. Then you work in this, and this pulls tight. You're welcome, Debbie. Were you the one asking about this? No, that was Karen doing the magic circle. Oh, you're welcome. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word on here, but we're just going to call you Cake. But yeah, I'll show you that again. I hold the yarn between these two fingers, my thumb and my ring finger. I wrap my index and middle finger. I make an X, because wrapping them like this doesn't work. You have to cross this over, because you're actually making that loop, just like if you were laying it down. There's the loop that was laying down on the table. Okay, and then I turn my hand over, and I just hold it right there. It's not tight. None of it's tight. It's all loose and floppy. It's probably why it doesn't want to work for me, because it's loose and floppy. I grab the second string, and then I twist my crochet hook 180 degrees so that it's facing up instead of pointing down. And then I come over here, and I grab this yarn that's being held by my pinky, and I pull it right through that loop. Seems a little tight to pull through the loop, because that loop it tightens up on itself. But yeah. It's just, if you look at it, it's just a loop, pulled through a loop, pulled through a loop. That's all it is. Yeah. And the neat thing about it is if you do tighten this up and you don't like it, and you just pull it out. No knot. You don't have to get your sewing needle out and pluck the knot out, or take scissors and cut the knot out. I'll show you that again. We got a few more minutes. If you want to practice it along, between my thumb and ring finger, I put the tail of my yarn. These two fingers are going to do all the work for me. Go over top of your index finger, around your middle finger, make an X. Then just turn your hand over. Bring your pinky up and just hold that yarn right there. Once you get to this point, you go underneath the first one, and I grab the second one, and I pull it. I do let go a little bit. My fingers come in a little bit to give me a little bit of slack. When I get to this point, this is where I take and I turn my crochet hook. So it looks like this. And then over here and grab this one. And, oops, don't let go of it. Go right to that loop. And there it is. Magic circle. Oh, okay. Well, Karen, just, if you need me to slow down on stitches so that you can see how they're done, or you need me to show something again, please just let me know, because I'm not here just for the seasoned crocheters. I'm here for the beginners. I'm here for the ones that just came back from the store with their first skein of yarn and a crochet hook. I'm going to help everybody that wants to learn. Good morning, CM Wool. How are you? So we're going to set this stuff, we're going to set our crochet hook to the side. And we are going to grab our handy dandy knitting needles. Oops. Almost lost my bracelets. I had them hanging on my knitting needles over here in my cup. I use double pointed needles with stoppers on them because I have limited space. I don't want these things making a drum beat. Good morning, Jonette. A half double crochet. Yes, I sure can show a half double crochet. And do that very quickly. Well, not very quickly. We've got plenty of time. I don't have to get off today for a phone call, but I am going to get off here at 10 o'clock and take a break and get something to eat and finish up my dog's morning because they're upset with me. And then I'll be back on later today. And I can help with anything that anybody wants to look at today. Scarves and hats for the homeless. Yes, I've done that. I've actually did up a bunch of hats on an Addy knitting machine and gave to a friend of mine that I worked with, his daughter. She wanted to help the homeless. So, and we are working on a half double crochet. Let me do chain. Get out. Yeah, you better come in here and be quiet. I swear they bark at everybody, in the house or not in the house. Right now I'm just chaining. I'm doing chains. I secured my yarn onto my hook with a slip knot, and I'm just pulling loops through loops. Okay. Half double crochet. Normally when you do a half double crochet, you chain 2. For a double crochet, you chain 3. The reason, welcome from Jordan. I don't know what your name is. I can't read that, but it's such beautiful print. I love it. Yeah. Oh, your 5th year helping out. That's wonderful. I've seen crafters make hats and scarves and gloves and just hang sets of them up around in big cities where they know they have a lot of homeless so that they don't feel ashamed or humiliated by having other people help them out, because sometimes they do. Sometimes they do, and they don't want you to help them. But for half double crochet, we are going to chain 2. That gives us our stitch height. Whenever a pattern tells you to chain 2, the reason why they do that is so that you don't have a rounded corner when you start your row. You want to have the stitch height that you need. Or they will tell you to do your first stitch so many chains from the hook, which gives you your stitch height. So we've got our chain 2 for our stitch height. We are going to yarn over. And this is a half double crochet for anyone who's just coming in or had to take a break. Manual, welcome, welcome. So, ooh, somebody's going somewhere. I wish they would have told me they were going somewhere. But anyway, half double crochet. We're going to go into our stitch right here. And we are going to pull up a loop. So now we have 3 loops on our crochet hook. And this might resemble a double crochet because there's an extra step to do a double crochet, but we're doing a half double today. So at this point, we are going to yarn over and we're going to pull through all 3 stitches. Okay, that's a half double. Again, yarn over, go into your stitch, pull up a loop, and then yarn over again and pull through all 3 stitches. That's a half double. Okay, now I'm going to show you something that you might not know, and on the next row we are going to do double crochets. I'm going to show you this very quickly because I just learned this here recently, and since you guys are here, I'm going to go ahead and start with some double crochets. As you see, I've already done. The difference in the crochet stitches is to just give you stitch height. From a slip stitch to a single crochet to a half double to a double crochet and to a treble or triple crochet. I do believe they are the same. They have different names for that stitch. Now, when you get to an end of a row and they tell you to chain and turn your work. Okay? You always get this big bubble in your work. The sides of your work look lumpy, or they have a little wave to them because you did that chain 2. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and do the chain 2. Actually, it's going to be chain 3 for double crochets. Okay, I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to go into my next stitch as I would doing a crochet. Okay. Now I'm going to crochet some over, and I'm going to turn it again, and I'm going to show you a different way, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about by gaps and bubbles on the edges of your crochet. Most of the time you put an edge on it and then you don't see it. So this is a way you can do it without having, and I'm going to show you this here. This is our chain 2 that we did to start off. This will count as a double crochet. Actually, our chain 3 that we did. But you see how it does. It gives you this rounded look to your edge. It's no longer straight, it's rounded. And even when you come back up here, this is still going to be rounded. I'm going to work back over here, or actually I'm going to do it from right here, and I'm going to show you how to do that differently. So you don't get that bubble. You don't get that gap, because it's hard to sew into that if you're sewing 2 pieces together. Okay? Lorraine, I'm going to be here until I can't be here anymore, honey. I'm definitely going to, because this is my happiness right here. I love doing this. It makes me extremely happy, and it makes my day. So I'll be here forever, whether you tap the screen or not. I'm going to be here for a long time. So there's a different stitch. It's called a stacking single crochet that you can do on the edges, so that you don't have this, especially like if you're making a sweater or a hoodie and you have to sew 2 pieces together. When you sew it together, this puts an amazing big hole in your seam line. So I'm going to show you something, and honestly, I just recently learned this, okay, and I want to share it with you. Normally you would chain 3 for double crochets to start your next row. We're going to chain 1, okay? The purpose that we chain 1 is, you see what it does? It moves our yarn over here so we can work in this stitch right here, where we would normally do our chain 2. Okay, I want to show you this here. You see our chain 1 is over here. Normally we would do chain 2 right here, and that's what creates this big hole, this big gap in your work. See that? That creates that. Now, I'm going to show you how not to have that on your seam side, or on any side. Once you've chained 1, let me put my crochet hook back in here. Once you've chained 1, go ahead and turn your work. Now, normally for a double crochet, you need 3 chains. So we are going to have to do 3 of these stacked single crochets, and I'll show you how to do that. You're going to go into your stitch, and you're going to go through both loops, the front loop and the back loop, unless you are working in the back loop only, and then you can do these in the back loop. But for demonstration purposes, we're going to do both loops. And you are going to perform a single crochet. If I can get my yarn to stay on the hook. Okay? I want to stop at this point because I want you to see these 2 strings. And I want you to see them now because I'm going to show them to you again once I get this single crochet finished. This is very important. You have 2 loops on here. Once you yarn over and finish off your single crochet, you're still going to see those 2 loops on your string. Now, the reason why they're called stacked single crochets is we're going to do another one right on top of this one. And we are going to use this string right here in between my fingers, which is the second one. Okay, there's one there and there's one there. We are going to go into here and do another single crochet. Okay, and because we need 3 of them for our stitch height, we're going to do 1 more. Again, we're going to go into this little loop right here. Okay. Now, that's the height of a double crochet. Doesn't that look a lot neater than this? Now, when I come over here, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side so you can see it on the other end over top of the other one. And do my double crochets across my row. It's a little slower because I'm watching camera view because I'm holding it up to where you guys can see it. We come down a little bit and work these double crochets. over to my side here, to the edge I mean, and I'm going to work one right in the top of that, which we should, because that counts as a double crochet. Get it up into the top of here. I always have fun getting it into the chain. It always seems to be a little tighter getting into the chain. Okay, and we finished up that row. Now I'm going to show you this over here. It's pulling a little bit. Stitches are pulling, but you see, you don't have the gap. It's as much space as the rest here. Okay, you see this gap here? I'm going to do that stacking stacking single crochet over here and do a couple of stitches, and I'm going to show you again the difference that it makes. And you can compare them one above the other. Okay, we're going to chain one, then we're going to turn our work and go right into that stitch. Okay. Now again, these two loops, this is the one that we're going to work through to do the stacking, because if we go back through this one, and I'll show you that now, because our yarn comes through this one, we can't go back through this loop here. We have to go through this one. Okay, so I'll show you that again. I'm going to do 3 of these. There's the one. There's 2. Go into this loop again, and there's 3. Okay, and let me do a couple of double crochets here, just so I can get this over and out of the way, and one more. Okay, get this to straighten up a little bit. Once you block it, it straightens all up, but you see here, I don't know why this is pulling. It shouldn't be pulling. Did you see this here? And your gap? You have no gap here because we did that stacking single crochet. No gap. And then of course, once this gets blocked, because this does pull in, just hold that there for just a second. You can see I'm just pulling it with the crochet hook. I don't know why we got a little bump. Maybe I'm a little loose on my chain 1. But you do lose your gap. And I noticed as I went through, it was straight. You didn't have this little... So, yeah, it takes care of that gap that's created when you chain 2. Or chain 3 or chain 4. So, wanted to share that with you. Now I'm going to start on the knitted portion of class, because we do an hour of crochet and an hour of knit. I just wanted to show you guys, some of you guys are new. I wanted to show you what I'm working on really quickly, and I'll be working on this later today. But I will be helping people today because I'm almost finished with this. This is a commission that I'm working on. And this is a tunic. Let me see here. It is called the Fan Lace Pullover. And I found, actually, it's a commission. The lady sent me the link for it. And it's not in there. Get my mind together here and I will find where this is. There you go. Everything's slow today. Absolutely slow today. I'll grab another drink of water. This is what I'm working on. And you can see it is absolutely beautiful. This pattern is on Etsy. Sassy Love Crochet is the one who I got it from. So, yep. I love it. I am going to use this pattern repeat in a different sweater for myself. A long duster sweater. So, let's get to the knitted portion of class today. We're working on squares. Squares seem to be the thing. A knitted square is easy to do. You just cast on and knit rows till you make a square. I'm going to show you how to make a square on a diagonal. We will be using the long tail cast on. I'm using a size 8 knitting needle and worsted weight yarn. Whatever knitting needles you have, as long as they're not really, really tiny and you don't have bulky weight yarn, you should be okay. Because this is just, again, for practice. I did these for the Ronald Weasley blanket that I have to finish up. I still keep saying I need to get out and get some Marauders mat material so that I can line the back of that. I want to line it on the back and do almost like an old quilt tie through with yarn with that one, because it's supposed to be a scrappy blanket, but it is, you know, Hogwarts themed, movie themed, Harry Potter themed. I absolutely love it. I'm keeping it for myself. I put a nice, after it was finished, I-cord border all the way around. But to make those squares, some of them were done on the diagonal, and they had diagonal striping in them. And people were asking me, well, how did you do that? So we are going to show you, or I'm going to show you how I did that today. So for knitting, we have several different cast-ons, and they are for all different types of, for all different reasons. Some of them are stretchy, some of them aren't stretchy. I can show you a really easy one if you have issues with casting on, but yet you can knit. You can perform the knit stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Again, I'm going to put this on here with a slip knot, so it's really easy to do. You just pull one through, slip knot. There's one stitch. We're only going to be putting 2 stitches on to start with, so as long as you can perform the knit stitch, you can cast on. You can tie this on if you want. Just make sure it's loose enough to slide up and down the needle without too much resistance. Okay, thank you for the follows, guys. Now, for this part, I'm going to turn this around simply because my string's not where I want it. Okay, let me get my hands right because I've been crocheting forever now. I got to get my hands right. To perform the knit stitch, this being the only stitch on here, you're going to go from the left in and through to the right. And you can see there's a little, you're working right in that loop that's created by it being wrapped around the needle. So you're going in to that little space there in the loop. You're going to have both of these needles in the loop. Okay? And it comes up to the back side like this. So they look like this. You take and wrap your needle counterclockwise, and then you pull your stitch through. Normally you would push this stitch off. People who know to knit, you would pull this stitch off, but because we are using this as a cast on, and this is super stretchy as a cast on like this, super stretchy, okay, you're going to elongate your stitch a little bit so you can maneuver it around. And you're going to come up underneath of it and slide it onto the other needle. Now, if you need to cast on more, I'll show you this again, okay? Because we only need 2 stitches to start. But you go to the left of your stitch, this being the stitch that we're working, and to the left. You go in and up the back. Then you're going to counterclockwise wrap your yarn around your needle. And it will slide down in there. If you pull it a little bit, you'll hear it. It slides right down in there. And if you apply tension at this point as you're pulling through, it helps to open up your stitch. When I get to this point, I let go of my tension. You can see my tension's loose now. I come up past this beveled portion on the knitting needle to make the size of the loop that I need. Yes, this is extra, extra stretchy. Now, mind you, if you have worked through, and there's some other reasons why you can do this too, okay? Again, underneath, and put it onto the other needle. Okay, I want to show you that the edge looks just like a cast on edge. Okay, everything looks the same. This is the way that I do it simply because, and I'll show you, if you wrap it the other way, it might be easier to pull through, but that's just the way that I wrap it because all the experience that I have had, and it doesn't change the look of it at all. No, not at all. And try a couple more like that. There comes a point where you can't, when you're doing certain stitches, wrapping it that way just does not allow you to it doesn't change up the look of the cast on at all. So you can do it that way. I just perform it the other way because I'll see when we come in to get in here, it's hard to get in there because we pulled it through that way. That's why. I don't know why. See, when I go in here now, I don't have as hard a time to get in there because I'm counterclockwise wrapping it. It affected going into my next stitch. And I've got these super small because I didn't take them up past the bevel. And they're tight now. But yeah, you can do it either way. I just say counterclockwise because that's the way I do it. And on the camera, I don't know if you're seeing counterclockwise because I don't know if I have my screens flipped for you. I don't know. I'm not technologically savvy about all of that stuff. So I'm just letting you know which direction I'm going, counterclockwise. You can wrap it clockwise and do it. Yeah, it doesn't change it. Always come up underneath. Otherwise, it twists your stitches the opposite way. Your stitches will look funny on the first row. But I'm going to go ahead and knock all of those off but 2. And I'm going to be showing you some knitting increases. Okay? Because we are going to increase this to make it a square, because 2 stitches doesn't make a square. All right? So what we do here is in this first stitch, you can either knit in the front and back of the stitch. Okay, it's always the first stitch of the row that we're going to do our increase in. Okay. Yeah, whichever way. You know, that's the good thing about knitting and crocheting. If you find an easier way that makes it more efficient for you, more comfortable for you, and it doesn't change the look of the design, keep doing it that way. Keep doing it that way. Because it's all about how the crafter wants to do it, really. Yep. Yep. So we can knit in the front and back loop to do the increase, or we can do the make one increase. I don't think we can do the make one increase on this row because it's going to be hard to pick up a bar in a cast on. There won't be one. So we are going to knit in the front and back loop. Now, to knit in the front loop, this being the front part of the loop here, and this being the back part of the loop, okay? We knit in the front of the loop. There's our knit in the front of the loop. Do not knock your stitch off. Take your needle around to the back. Go into the same loop on the back side and do your second stitch, which is knit through the back loop. Now you can knock that stitch off. Just push it right off the edge. And then we are going to knit into the next stitch. Now we have 3 stitches. Okay, turn our work. Again, we were going to knit in the front and back of the first loop. So we knit in the front. There's our stitch. Take our needle around to the back. Get a hold of the back of that loop. Do your stitch in there. This is known as knit in the front and the back. And then we'll knit the rest of the stitches on the row. Okay, and it is abbreviated as KFB. All right, so we'll turn our work around. Now, I'm going to show you the make one, okay? The make one is kind of neat too, and it doesn't, and depending on how you do the make one, there's several different ways to do the make one stitch, and it's a capital M and a 1. Sometimes they indicate right or left. Now, that will make your stitches lean to the right or the left if you want your stitches to lean. I'm not exactly sure how to do each one of those off the top of my head, but for now I'm just going to show you the make one. Okay, so we are going to do the first stitch as normal, knock it right on off the edge. In between your stitches, if you go like this, you'll see a little bar right here that travels in between these 2 loops. And I'll show you that little bar right here. Okay? That is the yarn that travels from one stitch to the other, to the next, and to the next, and from row to row. They're in between all of your stitches. Okay? You go in and pick that up, and then put your needle up underneath of it and pull it off, just like you did the other stitches when we did, I don't think we did that, but anyway, you'll put it on like you did the cast on from underneath. That's what I was talking about, the cast on. I couldn't think of the words. All right, and then you're going to knit through the back loop. So go straight to the back loop here. I'm looking through the camera view and I'm having a hard time getting it in here. Into, and sometimes what I have to do, if it's too tight, I'll take my hand and I'll lay it on the stitch, the finger, and roll it around a little bit so that it creates a little pocket back there so that I can get my needle in through the back loop. Okay? And we're going to work that stitch through the back loop and then push it off. That is another increase in knitting. Okay? It's not going to change up the look of our increases. It's not going to change the look of our square either because we're working in garter stitch, which is knit every row, every time you turn your knitting. So we're going to have a little ribbed square here when we get finished. So we're going to turn our work, and by turning our work, we actually, it's not like turning in crochet, you actually exchange needles with your hands. This one goes over here, and the empty needle that you're going to work the stitches off onto goes into your dominant hand, whether it be right or left. Okay. Now, again, we are doing increases in the first stitch of every row. So we are going to go ahead and do this make one stitch again now that we can really see the bar in between our stitches. See that bar right there in between where this comes over and this comes over? Right there. That's what you're going to grab. And that is the slack between your stitches. Make sure I get a hold of that right. Again, looking through the camera view, I don't want to catch everything else. And then your needle goes underneath and drop it off there. Okay. And then again, I kind of roll that stitch to the back. So it gives me a little loose loop back here that I can go into. Okay. And there's our extra stitch there. We don't get any extra gapping or anything because we're adding stitches, no holes. And we keep doing this. This becomes our corner of our square. You can see it's starting to, works almost like a diamond shape for now because your square will sit like this. And that's all you do. You keep increasing the first stitch of every row. Okay, I'll show you the make one again right here. And it should pull up slightly. You don't want to pull it too much because you'll tighten up this stitch and you'll pull from this stitch. Get that into that back loop there. Because we do twist the stitch when we do a make one. If I didn't put the stitch on, and I'll show you that on the next row, if I didn't put the stitch on the way I did, it would make a big hole, and I'll show you that. It's almost like doing a yarn over. Now if you want little eyelet laces up your square that you're making along the edges, you can do a yarn over, knit one and then yarn over on this before the second one, but that'll give you holes, unless that's what you're looking for. Now, here I'll show you when we pick up this bar here in the middle. If I just put it on the hook like this, you see that great big hole that it gives me, and it's going to put that great big hole in your work. If I go and do this stitch, look at the hole that it creates. Let me do a couple more stitches over here and I'll show you. I'm just going to work across the row. I'm going to leave it that way so you can see the hole in there that it creates. Okay, you see it right there? That big hole. I'll work another row or two and you'll see it. It was because I went through the top when I picked up my make one stitch. Okay, when you pick up your make one here in the middle, okay, you don't want to go and put your stitch on that way. You want to come from underneath. And it actually does twist the stitch. It makes the stitch tighter. Okay, and then work in through the back loop. Sometimes it's a little harder to get a hold of. Give me a little, there we go. I haven't done this in a while. There we go. And I will work over to the end, knitting every stitch. If there's any new knitters here and you need to see this knit stitch, let me know. And knitting only, for me, it only has 2 stitches, knit and purl. I don't count the yarn over as a stitch because it's an increase. See the hole that it puts in our work? A visible hole right there. Everything else is all nice and neat. And now we got, yeah, because we picked up our make one stitch the wrong way. Okay. Thank you for the follow, Ida. Again, when you do your make one, okay, when you go to put it over on this needle so you can knit it, always go under the stitch and drop it on there. If you give a little, just a little tug, it'll come up loose. See, we got it good this time. And then just knit your way across. Now, we don't have to do a whole lot of rows. I'm going to do maybe one more with an increase, and then I'll show you the decreases that make our square. See how we've got our little triangle already? So I'll do one more row with the increase. You can see where that make one really messed up the look too. See here? All these others have these little double lines all the way to the edge. Here we don't. Simply because we picked that make one up the wrong way. We put it on the needle the wrong way. So you have to be careful. If you see this with your work, it's because you put a stitch on, you know, the wrong way, if it's not intended. Or you yarned over. Sometimes I'll be knitting and I'll just yarn over and then I'll come back the row on top and I got a great big hole. I'm like, what did I do? I got too comfortable while I was sitting there knitting. So again, the make one stitch, you can pull it apart and you can see that bar really, really good. Bring your needle in from the bottom and drop that stitch off. And then I roll that around. You see I roll you see how far down the bottom stitch is. I roll that string around so it makes a nice big loop so that when I come back here, I go right straight into it. And if you knit that through the front loop, it gives you the same hole. So always knit your make ones through the back loop and you will not get a hole. Now if you want a hole, knit your make ones through the front and it will give you a hole. And I can show you that. I'll do one more increase row and then I'll show you how we decrease. Okay, I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to go like I normally would. But instead of going through the back, I'm going to go through the front, just like you would do a normal knit. Normally I would go back. I'm going to go right through the front, and you can already see hole. Okay, so you have to be careful which way you perform your stitches when you are doing your increases. Increases will cause holes if you do not knit your stitches twisted, because that's exactly what we're doing. We're taking the knit stitch and twisting it. It's just like taking this loop off and turning it around. For anyone who's had to frog work and pick stitches up, you know about having your stitches oriented in the right way. And you can tell if they're not when you go in to do them. And I don't know if that gave us a really big hole, knitting it through the front side, or not. I mean, we got a little bit of a hole right there. Nothing major like this one down here. So, now, what you do when you want your square to start coming together on the other side is your decreases. Okay? And normally we'll knit 2 together. Okay? For this one, we'll knit 2 together. There's also what they call passing a slip stitch over, and I just did that very quickly and didn't even show you what I did. To knit 2 together, you're just going to go through 2 stitches. Okay, you're going to go over to your second stitch, and I've got both of those on my needles, both of those stitches, and you're just going to knit them together. Okay, and then you're going to knit the rest of the stitches to the end. And again, our increases and decreases are done at the beginning of the row only. You do not decrease both of them at the beginning and the end, just at the beginning. Okay, and you'll do this. You can see our corners already starting right here because we knit those 2 stitches together. And a lot of people will look at you and be like, how in the world did you knit a square sideways? A lot of people don't know how to do this. And we dropped our stitch there. We're working over to the other side. We did our knit 2 together. Yeah. And again, this is known as garter stitch because you're knitting every row and you've got these nice little ripples all the way through your work. Okay, again, we are going to knit 2 together and then knit each one after to the end. And you just keep doing that until you're back down to 2 stitches, and then you'll knit those 2 together and finish it off. Okay, you see our squares already. We're coming in here and we're coming up here on this side. Knit these 2 together. And again, to perform a knit stitch, I go to the left of the stitch, bring it up a little closer here, to the left of the stitch and in through the loop that's made by it wrapping around. I come up past the beveled portion because this is the true size that you want up here. If you're working down here, your stitches are going to be too tight and you're going to have a hard time getting them back to push back so you can get the rest of them done. So make sure you're working up past this bevel here on your knitting needle. You see that I push it up past when I go in and wrap, and I pushed it up past when I take the stitch off. I might not go as high as I did there in the demonstration, but I am coming up past the bevel to make sure that I get the true size that I want of those loops that I'm working on. Yeah, if you work down here on these little edges like this, your loops are only going to be as big as what you're wrapping it around. So you need to make sure to work up past the bevel. It will affect the size of your wearables if you don't. And if you tighten it up too much to where, you know, I can take my work and slide it up and down the needles, but yet if I turn my needle upside down and shake it, it's not coming off. It's snug enough to stay on the needles, but, you know, still loose enough that it's going to very easily slide. I used to have a really bad habit of when I would cast on, I would check and make sure that everything would slide so that, you know, I didn't have a hard time doing my first row. But then you don't want your stitches too loose that you don't have a uniform straight edge on your cast on edge. That's going to be a cute little square. But yeah, knit 2 together until for the first 2 stitches, and then knit every stitch after that in the row until you come back down to 2 stitches, and then you'll knit those 2 together and you'll fasten it off. And I'll show you, I require a crochet hook to fasten off my knitting. I'll show you how I fasten it off. And these, as you have seen, are the only 2 knots that I ever put in any work. I don't care if I have to add 10 skeins of yarn. I do not put knots in my add-ons. Now I can show you that too. In crochet or knit, neither one. I can show you that later on today if you want to come back. I lay it over like a color change. And with knitting, I will, I didn't do my decrease. Knitting, I will work it like I do strand knitting, where I trap floats for like 1 or 2 stitches. And then, yeah, I come back and weave it in. All right, here's my last knit 2 together. I have 1 stitch left. At this point, I take my crochet hook and I chain 2 as if to crochet. And then I always leave about 3 or 4 inches of yarn, so I got plenty for weaving in or sewing, if I leave a long tail if I'm going to be sewing. And then I just pull it straight through with my crochet hook. I will pinch. You can see I've got 2 chains on here, and then the yarn's coming through. I will pinch above, up above the chain 2, and I will pull. And there's my other little knot. And there is our funky little, with holes, square, knitted square. I did these in 7" by 7" squares. I actually worked up to 42 stitches in the middle, and then I started decreasing. And with my gauge, that gave me a 7" by 7" square, which is what was required for the blanket. So hopefully that was helpful. We made squares today. Crocheted squares, granny squares, solid grannies, which I pulled out. I don't have that to show anymore. And I showed how to do the half granny. This is a half granny. So, is there anything, any questions anybody has, or anything that they would like to see knitted or crocheted at this point? Still have about 20 minutes left in class if anybody has any questions. Yeah, use them for dishcloths. If you make them out of cotton, you can use them for trivets for hot pots. Only cotton. Don't use acrylic for making things to put hot things on, because acrylic melts. It singes when it gets hot. You'll have little black singe marks all over it where it melts. Yeah, these triangles I was saying you can do them with worsted weight yarn, or you can use a thinner yarn, more so like a sock yarn, and make a head covering. Make it big enough just like you would fold a bandana, you know, and then do little chains here off of the edges so that you can tie it back under your hair. These little triangles can be used to fill in spots on cardigans. When you're doing the granny square cardigans, we had saw some of that earlier. Let me see if I can pull one of those back up really quickly. Got to get back into Pinterest. Gotta type it in here again. Okay. For the granny square cardigan layout that we were talking about, they use some triangle grannies around the neck to give you more space around the neck. You only took one short class in what, Patty? Let's see if I can't find the... And then there was some other things that you can do with granny squares. If you plan out the colors with your granny squares, you can do things like this and put them together and make amazing blankets. Well, Patty, I am here every Tuesday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We start the crochet portion of class, and then 9 o'clock, generally around 9 o'clock, we switch over to the knitting. So I do both. I'm going to be on here later on today. At 10 o'clock, we're going to end class because we normally do at 10. I will be coming back on around 11:30, and if anybody has any pattern questions, patterns that they're working on, if you need any help with crochet stitches or knit stitches or anything like that, I'll be back to help with that. Okay, we got some beginners in here too. Yeah, I'm here to share my skills with all of you. I'm going to jump in here onto my Instagram, and I want to show you guys some of the things that I've done. Sometimes it comes across, even for myself, like I don't understand what I'm doing, and it's simply because fibromyalgia and brain fog. Yes, I do amigurumi, stuffies, stuffed animals, plushies. There's multiple different words for those. I do those. Starting in October, I want to start a crochet or knit along. I am going to put a video out next month in September, in a couple days, to announce and do a poll for the crochet along. I want to know if you have what tube, Brittany? I want to know if you guys want to do a crochet or a knit along, or we can do both. We can meet up once a week, specific time set for, time and day. I want to try and have it to where everybody can join. Now, my crochet alongs, I will put them on, yes, I'm Eastern Standard Time, Patty. Oh, fibromyalgia. Yeah, no, it's not fun. It is not fun at all. I have a lot of issues with the brain fog and being able to focus and function sometimes and make the right words that I want to make and say. But that's neither here nor there. I do things a lot slower now, but I still do them. This was the sweater that I was talking about that I had to take completely back out because the front pieces were for a medium and the back was for an extra large. So that's one of the sweaters that I did. And it's funny because that same sweater I made for my sister prior to making that one that I just showed you for myself. The one I made for my sister, right straight through, no issues whatsoever. How to sew on something. What do you mean? How to sew things together? If that's what you mean. Cake. Here's another one that I've made. And it's more so a shrug style. It's got pockets. I like pockets. There's the pockets. Let's see. This one. I love this one so much. This one was a big labor of love. I'm not sure what color that green was. And here's one of the stuffies that I've done. Oh, unicorn stuffy. And let me see what else. Here's a, yeah, we got ice cream in there. Here's a T-Rex. Let me see what else we have here. Oh, this is a crazy morning. And tell me if you can see what's wrong with this picture. I didn't put the coffee filter in the basket. I put all the coffee filters in the basket. And then I do some, yeah, you couldn't get it open, Jonette? I do some pots. I did Totoro pots for my sister. She didn't set them up like we normally do. I think she'd used them in the house. And let me see if I have one of these in here where I did one from my mother. I'm looking to see. I know I have it in here. Maybe I don't. I thought I did. Oh. No, I don't. Oh, maybe I do. Yep. I did Betty Boop pots for my mother because her name is Betty and she loves Betty Boop. I did a polka dotted pot. And that one says Betty Boop. Another polka dotted pot. This one. And then the boop boopy doop. And this is what we did with the pots. We stacked them. I did one like this for my daughter with Nightmare Before Christmas. I might have it in here. A lot of different stuff that I do. And I don't know if you guys saw my Philadelphia Eagles blanket. Okay, I don't think I have hers in the Instagram. I did a corner-to-corner king-size blanket. A guy came to me and he said, "Can you make this into a blanket?" It was a t-shirt. You always hold your string in the left. It's all about holding your tension. If you hold it in your left, I do hold my string in my left when I crochet, but when I'm knitting, I hold it in my right hand. Because I think they call that continental knitting. So when you hold it in your left hand, you knit English. I might be able to show you how you can, how much for a Gryffindor blanket? I don't know. Depends on how big, what yarn you want it made out of, and things like that. But here's the blanket. And this was done. Let me see if I can't get it to. I don't think I can get it to zoom in. There we go. If you can, oh, it's done in corner to corner. You can see the corner to corner crocheted squares on there. But there it is. And that was a king-size blanket. I have done Harry Potter house hats. Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, Slytherin, and Gryffindor. I've also done small, like stroller-size blankets that I did crests. My daughter had a... she had her wedding here in my barn, and it was a Harry Potter themed wedding. 4 tables, each had a table runner with the house on it, and I made all of those. This one here is the Harry Potter scarf that I made, and it's double knitted. One side's light, one side's dark. The skull was done on stitch fiddle. And if you go in my TikTok, it's in my videos, you'll see it. You'll see the blanket, or you'll see a picture of the t-shirt. And you can see the step-by-step that I did to make that blanket. But I also sew during COVID. I made all kinds of masks that we could put the N95 filters in. What else do I do? This was a lounger that my husband and I built for our German Shepherd, so she has her own furniture. The little dog likes to lay on it. You can see the furniture tacks. And we covered it with, it's a fabric drop cloth, medium weight. Put all the little pleats around, and it's got wooden legs on the bottom. She absolutely loves it. She's on it all the time. But I do all kinds of things. Oh, I even made my own crochet hook. It's a J out of a dowel. So, and let me see here. There's a lot of stuff that I've done. Most of this isn't even on Instagram. Or on TikTok, I mean. And then that one sweater you saw that had the black and white with the roses and the cabling, it was this kimono pattern. And it's got a seed stitch section. Let me see if I can find one of the other lighter colored ones that I did. This one here. It's got, the body section of it is done in seed stitch. Well, with that one that had the roses on it, the black and white one with the roses, I took the seed stitch out and put that rose pattern in the body, the arms, and everything else. And I'll show you that one again. I love that one so much. You can see me here, video me working on it right there. 2 strands, one in one hand, one in the other. Do so many of the black, so many of the white. And where's that sweater at again? That one's also in TikTok. Here it is, this one. So I like to take a pattern, and I like the style, but I like to create it and make it mine. So I'll take and do a pattern where there's no pattern, or I'll do lace where there's no lace. You know, I just like to challenge myself and push past what, you know, the designer has set forth a little bit. So I still have a lot left to learn. I haven't done mosaic crochet. I haven't done brioche knitting. There's also an illusion knitting. I know you guys, I haven't been able to show you, and I'm going to show you really quickly before I end class today. This is something that I haven't done, and I really, really, really want to do. I'm going to pull it up for you here on Pinterest because it is absolutely amazing. I don't know how this works, but it does, and I'm going to find out for myself. I'm going to show you. And I might have to pull it up. Let me pull it up on YouTube, because I'll get a video and you'll actually see it. And I don't, like I said, I don't know how it works, but it does. And if I can find you that one video, illusion knitting or shadow knitting it's called. Let me see if I can find the one that just kind of like drew my attention. Here's one. And it's going to make me watch an ad first. I hate that. I want to see if this actually shows it the way the other one did. Here we go. You can see the colors, okay? You can see the colors. I don't know why they're waving those over there, but I don't have any volume playing. But, oh, this is blacklight. Okay, that's not going to work. And that's not what I'm talking about. Where's the one that I had? That's going to take me to just a picture. I know you guys are patiently waiting for me to come up with this. They actually did one. Here it is. Don't go away. All right, this one was the one I think that I had originally seen. It talks about illusion knitting. Because you use knits and purls, you garter stitch and stockinette stitch. You'll see this here. As you change the angle that you look at this, the picture comes to life. And I am just flabbergasted. Yes, good morning, that one dark skin. How are you? It has been a while. But there it is. And as you change the angle, the picture disappears. And I thought, oh my goodness, I have to do this. I have to do this. So there are some patterns on YouTube for illusion knitting. And I'm sure that there are some free on Pinterest. And it might be something that I do as a knit along. And have all you guys there along with me doing this knit along. I don't know what the heck's going on now. Doesn't want to let me close that out. There we go. But that might be something that we do together. Because if you can knit and purl, stockinette and garter stitch is just knit and purls. You know, whether you do it all at, you know, knit every row or knit one row, purl one row. Yes, it would be an amazing knit along. Do a scarf with something on it, you know, whether it be a holiday something or whatever, you know. We'll have to put feelers out there and see what people want to do. But yes, I definitely do want to do that. And I've picked up crochet again because of this crochet hook right here. I have had such issues with carpal tunnel and arthritis in my hands, and crocheting has it got very painful to the point that I didn't do it for the longest time. And now I'm coming back into crochet, and there's so many more things going on that wasn't going on 20 years ago when I stopped doing a good bit of it. So, you know, I'm learning all new kinds of things, and I'm sharing all of those things with you guys. So, I've got a lot of work ahead of me. I'm going to go ahead and end for today, but I will be back around 11:30. If anybody has any questions or any stitches they want to see, anything like that, or if you're having issues, stop back in and see me, and I will do my best to help you. So, may all your stitch counts match, and happy crafting.